4 months have passed since the murder of dentist John Jelinek. The police suspect a state trooper as the killer. Their suspicions are confirmed by 2 psychic sisters who offer more clues.
The psychics actually gave us things to work on, you know, the dog tags, the military, the SUV, and the footprints.
The psychics say their vision of dog tags means the killer has a connection to the military.
I was sort of skeptical about that, thinking that, yeah, they got the car right, they got the possible trooper right, but he wasn't in the military. He didn't have dog tags. We looked into it further, and indeed, he did have a military background.
The police ramp up their investigation into the state trooper and make a damning discovery.
We found video evidence from local gas stations that Kevin Foley was driving through town. He didn't have to travel through Blairsville to get back home, and yet he did.
Kevin Foley had means. He had motive. And now it's clear he had opportunity. But police still don't have enough hard evidence to make an arrest. And Foley's not talking. He's hired a lawyer.
We were unable to get to Trooper Kevin Foley. He was not cooperating with us.
A local police department, like the Blairsville Police Department, does not have the resources or the manpower to investigate a murder for months or years on end. So it became quite apparent that they were going to need help. The concern was, should they call in the state police to investigate this, considering one of their prime suspects was a state police trooper? An independent agency needed to be brought in to investigate this, hence the Attorney General.
This was a very circumstantial case. This wasn't a case with a confession or with an eyewitness, so it had to be built piece by piece.
Deputy Attorney General Anthony Krastik brings some much-needed muscle to the case.
One of the key pieces of evidence in this case certainly were the bloody shoe prints. This was a shoe print made from a Asics Gel Creed or Gel Creed Plus between a size 10 and a 12.5.
Only 25,000 pairs were ever sold in America. Krastik learns that Kevin Foley owns a pair.
That company had a discount for officers. Kevin Foley was one of their best customers. He bought a lot of things from them, including the exact size and make that could have made those shoe impressions.
While there's mounting circumstantial evidence pointing to Kevin Foley, there's still nothing to place him directly at the crime scene. And then
the DNA results came back and showed that there was a match to Kevin Foley.
Kevin Foley's DNA had been trapped underneath his victim's fingernails, just as the psychics predicted. 17 months after the murder of the Blairsville dentist, the police finally arrest Trooper Kevin Foley.
This was a 1.5 year long investigation. Clearly, this wasn't going to be simple. This wasn't going to be an easy conviction. The preliminary hearing itself, where the police have to lay out all the evidence they have against a suspect, took hours. We weren't even sure it would get that far. We thought perhaps a judge might throw it out right there, but he didn't.
At the trial, prosecutors argue that Kevin Foley had ample motive.
The jurors found out that Dr. John Jelinek's divorce was just 1 day away from being finalized.
If that happened, Foley's live-in girlfriend, Jelinek's estranged wife, would lose $2,500 a month in support. And Foley had another motive.
He had it in his mind that John Jelinek was a bad man, a child molester.
During Jelinek's bitter divorce, his estranged wife made accusations. She even took John to court. Although he was cleared of all charges, Foley never stopped believing John was a monster.
Kevin Foley made no secret of his ill will towards John Jelinek. He just would tell anybody that John Jelinek was evil, should be killed, even asked one trooper to help him kill him.
The prosecution paints the jury a vivid picture of the events of April 13th. At around 1 a.m., Foley arrived at Yelnick's house and entered through the back door.
You know what I'm here for.
Step in my house.
You know what I'm here for.
Get out of my house.
Foley attacked Yelnick, slashing him in the face and chest. He pushed Yelnick's head through the front door window, nearly decapitating him in the process. The pathologist testifies it took up to 9 minutes for John Yelnick to bleed to death. Throughout the 8-day trial, Foley maintains his innocence. But on March 18, 2009, he's convicted of first-degree murder in the death of John Yelnick. He's sentenced to life in prison with no chance for parole. He is appealing the verdict.
He was the most wonderful person in the world. He died the most horrible death. And tonight, this is his night. We love you, John, and we miss you. We're never forgetting.
For John's friend and neighbor, Foley's conviction means an end to a nightmare. And she credits the Vincent sisters for their part in solving the case.
I believe that the psychics were helpful in this case. I felt like it was just incredible, the information that they knew. What we wanted to do from the very beginning was to make sure that we found out who did this to our friend and make sure that justice was served.